On May 29, 2023, the same day Bola Tinubu was inaugurated as Nigeria's president, he walked to a microphone and said 3 words: "Subsidy is gone." That sentence cost Nigerians, within 72 hours, an average of 200% more at the fuel pump. Not a gradual reform, not a phased policy, a detonation. What you're about to hear is not a story about fuel prices. It's a story about power, calculation, and who pays the bill when a man bets an entire country on himself. Lagos is not just a city, it is a system. It produces a specific kind of person, someone who understands that power in Nigeria is not inherited, it is accumulated, block by block, deal by deal, favor by favor. Bola Ahmed Tinubu understood this before he could articulate it. His origin story is layered, and deliberately so. The birth certificate questions, the citizenship disputes, the American years. Tinubu has never fully clarified them, and he has never needed to. In Lagos politics, mystique is not a liability, it's leverage. What is documented? He studied accounting in the United States, returned to Nigeria, worked for Mobil Oil, then moved, deliberately, strategically, into finance, into networks. By the late 1980s, he wasn't just connected, he was essential. To understand how Tinubu became the Jagaban of Borgu, a Nupe title meaning warlord or leader, you need to understand the architecture he built. Pillar 1. Financial infrastructure. He didn't just have money, he controlled the structures that moved money. State allocations, tax revenues from Lagos State's internally generated revenue, which he built from nearly nothing into one of Africa's largest subnational revenue bases. From roughly 600 million naira per month to 5 billion naira per month, under his governorship alone. Pillar 2. Political Godfather networks. Every major political figure who rose through southwest Nigeria in the 2000s and 2010s, Tinubu had a hand in their career. He didn't just back politicians, he installed them, mentored them, and expected loyalty in return. When loyalty cracked, the networks found out. Pillar 3. Mass mobilization. This is the part his critics underestimate. The Agberos, the Lagos street networks, the market women associations, the transport unions. Tinubu didn't control Lagos through fear alone. He built a constituency that genuinely believed in him. His 2023 presidential campaign slogan wasn't accidental. Emi Lokan, it is my turn. 3 words, spoken at a rally in June 2022. They set off a political earthquake that divided his own party, and they explained, more honestly than any policy document, what the 2023 election was really about. Nigeria has been arguing about fuel subsidies since 1973. Let that sit for a moment. 50 years of the same argument. Different presidents, same impasse. Here is the core of it, stripped clean. Nigeria is one of the world's top oil producers, but it has almost no functional refining capacity. So it exports crude oil, then imports refined petrol, at full market price. For decades, the government subsidized the difference between what that imported petrol actually cost and what Nigerians paid at the pump. The gap was called the subsidy. By 2011, the subsidy bill had reached $8 billion. By 2022, $9.7 billion. 2023, projected at over $10 billion. By 2022, the federal government was spending more on fuel subsidies than on education, health, and infrastructure combined. That is not an exaggeration. That is an audited budget line. Every economist, left, right, center, Nigerian, international, agreed. The subsidy was unsustainable. Where they disagreed was everything else. Who would absorb the shock? How fast? With what replacement safety nets? Would the savings actually reach the poor, or simply vanish into the same system that created the problem? The International Monetary Fund had recommended subsidy removal for years. The World Bank had. The Nigerian Economic Advisory Committee had. Past presidents, Obasanjo, Jonathan, Buhari, had all floated it and retreated. They retreated for a reason. In January 2012, President Goodluck Jonathan removed the subsidy. Within 8 days, the streets of Lagos, Kano, and Abuja looked like a revolution. He reversed course almost immediately. The memory of 2012 was alive in every political calculation made in 2023. What changed? Tinubu made a different calculation. He believed, or decided to believe, 3 things. First, the subsidy was so visibly broken that the public would eventually accept the logic of removal, if results followed. Second, his political capital, freshly won, would not be this high again. Act now or never. Third, the pain would be short. Growth would follow. History would vindicate him. That third assumption is where this story gets complicated. In the room, there was applause from some quarters. On the streets of Lagos by nightfall, there was panic. Petrol prices moved overnight, not gradually, overnight. The average Lagos resident didn't feel it at the fuel pump first. They felt it on the Danfo bus, the Okada fare, the cost of a plate of rice at the bukateria, the generator fuel, the borehole water pump, the cold chain that keeps the tomatoes from rotting before they reach the market. This is called cost pass-through. Economists know it well. It means when energy gets expensive, everything gets expensive because everything runs on energy. And Nigeria, with its epileptic power grid, runs more of its economy on generators and imported fuel than almost any country on Earth. Let's stay with the facts. Inflation. Nigeria's headline inflation in May 2023, 22.4%. By October 2023, 27.3%. By February 2024, 31.7%. The Naira exchange rate. At inauguration, approximately 462 Naira to $1. By October 2023, after the Central Bank of Nigeria's simultaneous foreign exchange liberalization, 1,000 Naira to $1. By early 2024, 1,500 Naira to $1. The Naira didn't slide downward, it fell off a cliff. Poverty. The World Bank estimated that within months of the subsidy removal, an additional 7 to 8 million Nigerians crossed the poverty line, moving from economic precarity into outright poverty. Nigeria was already home to the world's second largest poor population, roughly 133 million people living in multidimensional poverty, per the National Bureau of Statistics' own 2022 report. The subsidy removal didn't create poverty in Nigeria, it deepened a wound that was already open. The government had a plan, or said it did. Compressed natural gas buses, an 8,000 Naira per month transfer to 12 million vulnerable households. Infrastructure investment funded by subsidy savings. What arrived on the ground and how quickly it arrived is a different story. The CNG bus rollout was slow. The 8,000 Naira cash transfers, roughly $5 at late 2023 exchange rates, were described by recipients as arriving inconsistently, occasionally not at all, and wildly inadequate against an inflation rate running above 30%. A Lagos teacher earning 50,000 Naira per month in January 2023 was, by December 2023, earning the effective purchasing power equivalent of what 21,000 Naira bought at the start of the year. Their salary didn't change. Everything else did. Here is what his defenders say, and it is not nothing. The subsidy was a scam. Of the billions spent annually, a significant portion was being captured by a small network of oil marketers, importers, and government insiders. Verification of subsidy claims was notoriously opaque. Multiple audits by the NNPC, the National Assembly, and international bodies flagged consistent over-invoicing and ghost volumes. The subsidy wasn't feeding the poor, it was feeding the system. Revenue was being destroyed. The NNPC, Nigeria's national oil company, was remitting almost nothing to the Federation account in 2022 and early 2023. The subsidy was consuming everything it earned. By removing it, the calculation was that NNPC would finally become a cash-generating asset for the state. It has worked elsewhere. Indonesia removed fuel subsidies. Iran did. Ghana, Egypt, Morocco all went through versions of this pain. Most economists studying those cases found that with proper compensatory programs, the long-term fiscal health improved. The argument is not without precedent, but Nigeria is not Indonesia. The argument for subsidy removal assumes the savings will be redirected to public goods, roads, schools, hospitals, conditional cash transfers that actually reach people. That assumption requires a government infrastructure capable of delivery. Nigeria's track record on that front, documented across successive administrations, is not encouraging. There is also a timing question that Tinubu's critics press hard. He removed the subsidy on day one, without confirmed replacement systems in place, without fully operational cash transfer infrastructure, without a functioning NNPC retail network that could stabilize prices, without exchange rate policy coordination, which arrived weeks later and compounded the shock rather than cushioning it. The sequencing mattered, and the sequencing was, by most independent assessments, wrong. By August 2024, Nigerians had a name for what they were feeling, and they took it to the streets. The End Bad Governance protests, which began August 1, 2024, were the largest civil demonstrations Nigeria had seen since Occupy Nigeria in 2012. They were also, notably, different in character. 2012 was about one policy: bring back the subsidy. 2024 was about something larger and harder to reverse: a complete loss of faith in the direction of the state. The government's response was a mixture of dialogue gestures and, in some northern states, security crackdowns. Lives were lost. The protests eventually subsided, but the underlying conditions did not. By the end of 2024, Nigeria's economy had grown, technically. GDP figures showed expansion in some sectors, particularly services and oil revenue recovery. Nigerians on the ground were not feeling it. This is the paradox at the heart of this story. A country can grow, and its people can get poorer at the same time. Nigeria in 2024 was a case study in exactly that. History doesn't judge intentions, it judges outcomes. And the outcomes of May 29, 2023 are still being written. As of early 2025, Nigeria's inflation remained above 28%. The naira had lost over 70% of its pre-reform value. Petrol prices had exceeded 1,100 naira per litre in most states. And yet, NNPC remittances to the Federation account increased. Some infrastructure projects began. A long-term IMF framework is in discussion. The gambler cleared the table. Some chips came back. Others, millions of them, are still on the floor. Whether this was bold statecraft or catastrophic miscalculation, The answer isn't hiding in any government press release. It's in the price of a bag of rice in Onitsha, a Danfo ride in Mushin, a school feeding program that either arrived or didn't. The data is there. The people living it aren't abstract. And the table, as of this moment, is still open.